Hey, Carlon. Mandy put her head around the cell door. How are you, baby? He turned to smile at her. Hey, sexy. You took your time, he said softly. The nurse stepped into the prison cell and pushed it to. They'd been having sex for months, exciting for both, living life on the edge. She was in her early 40s, 5'2" and back on steads, blonde hair, white uniform. Tiny had on his blue Ralph Lauren dressing gown, commando. He reached out and tenderly pulled her to his chest. He kissed her gently, his hands touching her face, her neck, her medium-sized breasts. He spun her around. She pulled up her dress. Finally he spoke. Pull those panties to the side. Let me see that buff pussy. She pushed her black panties to the side and parted her legs. He opened his dressing gown and probed at her wet pussy. She was tight. He grabbed her hair and went to work with firm, long strokes, digging out her hole. He put his hand over her mouth to muffle her excitement. I'm going to fill up your white, wet pussy, baby, whispered Carlon into her ear. He placed his free hand on her hip and pulled onto his dick. He rocked back and forth with tenderness and passion, driving her into a kind of sexual frenzy. Mandy trembled. Her knees buckled. Orgasm. Carlon pulled out and guided her to her knees. She opened her mouth and sucked his pole. She licked and caressed him with her hands. She took him deeper until he bust in her mouth. The Cat A van arrived at HMP Whitemoor bang on schedule. Tiny was double cuffed and rocking a green and yellow E-Man suit. Standard clothing for Cat A prisoners on escort. Bright colours, high vis, if any Cat A prisoners dared to escape. The van pulled into the main entrance. There were 4 officers on deck. The van was searched and their mobile phones were seized. Reception, strip search, a slow walk to the house block. Once Tiny landed on a wing, he saw a number of familiar faces. He was allocated a single cell on the 2s. No luggage. His property would be processed the following day. As he walked up the stairs, he clocked DC. Yo, my guy, DC smiled. What cell are you in? 21 on the 2s, Tiny replied. Come to my cell, bro. As he walked down the stairs and made his way to DC's cell, he spotted a number of people he knew. He shook hands with DC and stepped into his spot. He was on Dean, focused. What jail you come from? Long Larton, bro. I was in the block. Due to all this East Coast, West Coast beef, Cat A HQ. Home Office said they're moving me and all my allies here, innit? Tiny stated. I know. I was in full Sutton. They told me the same shit. Me, Curtis and CH arrived here on Tuesday. Who else is here? Just us, man, and a burger bar gang. They sent all the Johnson gang to Long Larton. Ah, so they separated those guys as well. Yeah, they're beefing as well, innit? Okay, you know what that means, right? We're going to be allies with the burger bar, and the West Coast are going to be allies with the Johnsons. Looks that way, innit? I'm not even watching the Birmingham beef. Anything from West that comes to this jail is going to get splashed. Tiny was sitting in DC's cell. Any news on your appeal? Tiny asked. DC shook his head. Nah. Any day now. My legal team said I suspect something this week. That fucking C1, he stitched me up. How? Tiny inquired. Told Bucket's baby mother to lie and say she saw me smoke her man. C1 showed her a picture of me and told her to pick me out of the police ID parade. You sure he did that? As sure as I've ever been about anything. I didn't shoot him, and I wasn't there. That little prick C1 sealed my fate, sentenced me to a life in jail for something I didn't do. I don't know the guy, but I didn't think that was his style. DC pulled out a box from under his bed, used his fingers to flick through a number of files. He produced his police statement and handed it to Tiny. Read this. When popcorn got smoked, the shit got popping. C1 wrote a police statement and attended court. He's a fucking scumbag. Tiny read the statement, shook his head in disgust, and placed the statement on the table. Shocking. Imagine. C1's government, they want a police statement. DC interrupted him. He told the feds, the court, the whole world who he thought smoked popcorn. Man went to jail because of him. TMD, yeah? The games were rigged. There were no rules. There's no moral code. Anyone rolling with C1 is suspect.